Hello students, welcome back. Today we learn class 9 computer application. In our last video we had discussed about the difference between procedure oriented programming language and object oriented programming language. In that tutorial we came to know about why object oriented programming language is most popular and why it is most widely used. Since in procedure-oriented programming language, there was a problem of data. Since our data was not secured, not hidden, so object-oriented programming language provides you a high level of security. So our data is safe. Today, in this tutorial, we learn about object-oriented programming concepts. In this tutorial, we will come to know about class, objects, and all four concepts of object-oriented programming. Let's begin here. First of all, let me tell you one more time about concept. So, as I told you about, it is object-oriented programming. Object programming S denotes as system. Sometimes it is called structure also. So if you see somewhere object oriented programming system or structure, both are, don't confuse, both are same, either system or structure. So in this object oriented programming, it is a paradigm, you can say paradigm or methodology. What is paradigm or methodology? It is a way of, or you can say it is a method of doing or performing a task. So that's why object oriented paradigm is a way of doing your task, or methodology means a function or a way, a method by which we can perform a particular task. Last time we came to know about the features of this object-oriented programming. Today we'll see the concepts of object-oriented programming language. Basically, you can say here, let me write six pillars of object oriented programming language. We are well aware that in object oriented programming language we use class and objects. To simplify or to relate the real world objects, we use class and objects in object-oriented programming language to solve a problem. So, let me write here, first one is class. Second one is objects. Third one is abstraction. Fourth one is encapsulation. Fifth one is polymorphism. And sixth one is inheritance. So these are the six pillars of object-oriented programming language. They are class, objects, abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. So we will start one by one. We will just learn one by one, and we will try to relate all these concepts to the real world, and from the real world only we'll try to fetch out the definition of each and every concept. So before that, okay, go ahead. So class, first of all, go with the class, and then objects, then abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. So we'll take out the definitions, you can say, from the real world objects. So we'll just correlate with the real world objects, and we'll try to find out the definition. So let's go with the class. Class. What do you think? What is a class? Take a real world example. Animal may be a class. Animal, yes, animal is a class. And if I talk about objects, dog may be an object of this animal class, and cat. Okay, just like that. If I talk about bird. So in bird, you can take like sparrow. Sparrow is a object of this class, and it may be a one more, you can say, peacock. Okay, birds, sparrow, peacock. If I take one more real world class like vehicle. In vehicle maybe car and jeep. So many would be there. Here also animals, so many animals are there. So let's see. If I talk about a class, animal is a class here. It is a conceptual thing. Animal. If I talk about a particular animal, then it's okay. But if I talk about I want to see animal, what is animal? Definitely there will be some categories of animals. So these are the parts of this class. So dog is an object, class is also an object, cat is also an object. So animal. Now one more thing I will tell you. In this one. So from this part we can take out the definition, because see, if I talk about animal, it is not a real world entity. Why it is not a real world entity? Because it is only a conceptual thing. If I talk, just take an example, that if I asked you, I want to see an animal. So animal is not defined which animal I want to see. So this is only a conceptual thing, a blueprint or a template. But if I talk about dog, so now it is clear. I want to see a dog. That's okay. Now it is totally clear. So dog, cat, these are the real world entities. It means these are the objects of animal class, and these two are the objects of that animal class, object of that class. Clear? One more thing is there. Let me cover it. See, methods. So if I talk about the method of this animal class, what may be? It may be eat method may be, or run method may be. Okay, means see, animal. And who will work on this? Who will? First of all, let me tell you about the method. A method is the operation of a set of code which perform a task. Clear? Method is a set of code which perform a particular task. So, who will eat? Animal? No. Dog. This dog will eat, this cat will, or this cat will eat. So, class, okay, then objects which are the instance of this class, and these dogs will do some task. Who will do the task? Animal will not do. Animal is a conceptual thing, but actually dog will do some particular task. So this is a task only. Eating a task, running is a task, and so many tasks are there. Depends upon the objects the task or method will be also changed. The behavior of different objects will be definitely different. Sometimes it would be same also, but for the different objects may have different behaviors. So we will just try to write the definition from this one. Class is the collection of objects, because see here, animal class, but different objects are there. Two objects, it may be have many also. So class cat, tiger is there, cow, goat, horse, elephant, giraffe. So these are the collection of this animal class. So we can say in our definition that class is a collection of objects. Second definition, just now I told you that in animal is a conceptual thing, because this tells which object we are talking about. It is used to differentiate different objects. Okay, so this is not a real world entity. So you can write here, class is not a real world entity. It is a blueprint. It is a blueprint or blueprint, template, you can say, template or what you can say, or prototype, you can say, prototype. Because this is the class from where the different objects can be created. So that's why class is not a real world entity, because it is a conceptual thing. Class is not a real world, but it is a blueprint. It is a blueprint from where the different animals can be created. And template or prototype. The third one, as I told you, see, if I talk about animal and you keep a dog, so since animal is not a real world entity, so definitely class will not occupy any kind of space. Correct? Class is not a real world entity, so definitely animal will not have any kind of space, but definitely dog will have. Just take an example that you just keep a dog at your home. So if I talk animal acquire or animal occupy space, it is not correct, because animal is a conceptual thing and it is not a real world entity. But if I talk about dog, if you keep a dog at home, so definitely this dog will occupy space. So you can say that class does not occupy space, but object has. So I can write class does not occupy space. So this is the basic of class. Class is a collection of objects. That's correct. Many objects can be created. Class is not a real world entity. It is a blueprint, template or prototype, because definitely it is not a real world. So it is from this template, from this blueprint, I can create many objects. I can generate many objects. So it is a template. Third one, class does not occupy space. Why? Because class is only a conceptual thing. Class is not a real world entity, so that's why it will not occupy space also. I gave you example of that animal. If you keep a dog at your home, so especially that dog will acquire space. Objects will occupy space, because this is not a real world entity. One more thing, I talked about methods. So who will use these methods? Animal or these objects? These objects, because this is not a real world. Animal, if I talk about, if I talk about animal, so it is not clarified which animal I am talking to. So, dog will use these methods. Dogs, cat, and all different objects will use the methods in their real world entity. Now, just let me give you a syntax of writing class. Syntax of class. How do we specify class in our program? So, let me write the syntax here. So, access modifier will come first, then class keyword, and then class name, then curly braces opens here and the curly braces closed here. So this is the block, this is the syntax of class. Before writing a program, we write this class and then we give our block of statements. So access modifier is your public, private, protected and default. Clear? So this we'll just discuss more deeply in the later chapters in encapsulation part. But right now we are well aware about public and the default one. When we don't use any specifier, access modifier, then it is a default or friendly specifier. Then class keyword we use, okay, and then class name. Class name always start with capital letter. I have told you in the last class also. In class name will always start with capital letter, and if it is a collection of words, then the first letter of the word will start with capital and the second letter of the word will start with capital. So we can easily differentiate. In last class we had discussed about identifier naming rules. In that naming rules we came to know how to give the names to the different parts of your program. But in class 9 as well, we will learn about identifiers in more deeply, so in the later chapters. So this is how we can write a class, and in this class, what a class can have. So this class can have methods, isn't it? As I told you, this class will have some methods also, so that the objects can use those methods. It can have attributes. Attributes means data, variables. Variables can be kept in the class. Okay. Then constructors. Then different blocks. Then nested class and so on. So one by one, lesson by lesson, we'll come to know about this. So this class can have methods, attributes, behaviors means in methods. What are the methods here? Like each method and run method. If I talk about attributes, what would be the attribute of dog here? So attributes or state, you can say state also would be there. State or attributes. So state or attribute may be color, breed, age, all these would be your attributes or state. Constructors and blocks and nested class and so many things a class can have. So this is a class. How class is a collection of objects. Many objects can be created from a particular class. Class is not a real world entity because it is a conceptual thing, so it is not a real world entity. It is a blueprint or template or prototype from where many objects can be created. Class does not occupy space because it is a conceptual thing, so it will not occupy space, but objects will have. And this is the syntax of class. Clear? So let's go for the next one, objects. Hope you got this class clearly you can note down. So the same we can have animal here for understanding the objects. Eat and run it was, yes, run, and it was dog, cat. So we'll take only one and we'll see the objects. If I talk about object, what you can say? Object, what is the definition of object here? If I talk about, see, this object is part of this class itself, because from this class only this object was created. So we can write object is an instance of a class. Object is an instance of a class. Since from this animal class only this was created, so we can write object is a instance of a class. Second one would be, last in a class I told you that this animal is not a real world entity. So it was not having any kind of space, but objects was having. So object is a real world entity. Clear? Because if I talk about dog in real I can see. Cat, real I can see. But animal, if I talk about animal, it is a conceptual only. So object is a real world entity. And the third one would be, animal is a conceptual, so it will not have any kind of space. But dog, cat, if I keep a dog, definitely this dog will occupy some spaces. So object occupy space. If I talk about object, definitely this object occupies space in the memory. Clear? Now some more thing we'll talk about. This object consists of what object can have? We are talking about what object can have. So object can have, first of all, attributes, or you can say identity. It will have identity, because this dog, cat, this will have some particular names. So in identity, name, ID and all can come. Then object can have a particular state oblique attribute. In this one, because this dog will have some kind of attribute or variables like color will have, breed will have, age will have, okay? Identity, state or attribute, and what will have? Identity, state, attributes, and it will have behavior. Behavior, you can call it methods or functions. It will have some kind of behavior, because this behavior is being done by objects, and behavior means those methods which are being used by this dog. So definitely, if I talk about a dog, if I talk about a cat, they will do some task, okay, and these tasks are called methods or behavior. So behavior, methods. So this is your objects. Clear? Right now I will not tell you how to create an object in Java, but for the conceptual things, for understanding the basic of object and class, you can just note down this one. Object is an instance of a class. Since it is a part of class, so we can say it is an instance of a class. Object is a real world entity because in the real world we can see them. Object occupies spaces. These are the real world objects, so definitely they will occupy some spaces, and object consists of identity. This will have some identity. If the real world objects will have some identity like color, for dog, color, for identity, name, ID, okay. For state and attributes, color, breed and age will be there. For behavior or methods, what a object can do, okay. Behavior, you can say what object can perform or what object can do is called behavior or methods. Clear? Okay, so just note it down. Let's go for the next object-oriented programming concept. Next one is abstraction. Abstraction is a way or is an act to represent the, let me write here, it refers to act of representing essential features of an object without showing the it refers to the act of representing essential features of an object without showing the background details or explanation. See, it refers to act of representing essential features of an object without showing the background details or explanation. Here also we'll take an example of real world entity. So if I talk about a car is a real world entity, and we will see how the abstraction is being represented from the car. If I talk about a driver, what a driver needs to drive a car? A driver needs steering, clutch, okay, gear, brake, accelerator and all. Do he need to go to the wiring, how the wire is being connected, how the engine is working, how the brake drum is working inside? No. Because as a driver, my essential features, I just come to know only what I actually need to drive a car. So if I talk about the car, your accelerator, seating, brake, clutch, accelerator, lights, all these will be the essential features that I need to use. But I don't need to go to the background details or implementation level details like how the engine is starting, how the engine is working, how the wires being connected with each other and all. So this is abstraction to show the essential features of an object. This is called abstraction. Clear? The next one is so we can take one more example of abstraction like your switchboard. For this switchboard, we need to use only switches to on or off the fan and lights. Do I need to go how the switch circuit is, how the switchboard is working inside, how the wires are being connected? As a user, we don't need. Because depends upon the user, the abstraction would be different. If I talk about an aeroplane, in an aeroplane, as a traveler, my abstraction would be sitting, the comfort and the accommodation what they are providing, what the airlines provides. Okay, but at the same time, for the pilot, the abstraction would be different. Definitely because he is just worrying about the cockpit. He is worrying about how the engine I need to just run on the RAN and so many things, the instruments or the devices which are given, they are just knowing about them. But at the same time, the engineers, those who are just developing these aeroplanes, for them the abstraction would be different. They are just go for how the engine is working, how to fix the engine and so many things. Okay, so depends upon the user, the abstractions would be different. Clear? You can take example of this switchboard. Just now I told you that as a user we need to just put on and off the switches. But if I talk about electrician, for him the abstraction would be inside the board, how the wires are being connected, now how to just make it fixed properly so that there will be no short circuit and all. So for him abstraction would be different, but for us as a user the abstraction would be different. We can take example of a software developed by different programmers. Just take an example of a software of game. We are only worrying about our game. We are not worrying about how the code is being implemented. Clear? Which variables, which methods were used to develop this program. We are only using this app. We can take a real world example of WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, game softwares. We are the end users and we are only using them, but we are not worrying about how it was implemented, what are the different methods, what are the different attributes or states were used to develop this program or to develop this software. So depends upon the users, the abstraction would be also different. Clear? The second one is encapsulation. Encapsulation, the definition would be wrapping up of data, and operation, you can say operation or function in a single unit is called encapsulation. And in another way you can say encapsulation is a way to represent abstraction. Encapsulation actually hides our data so that it can be protected from the accidental use. Encapsulation is a way to hide our data so that accidentally it cannot be used by somebody else. Or encapsulation is a way to represent abstraction. Encapsulation means wrapping up of data, means just covering implementation level with the outer layer, so that user can just take an example of a software that you are using. Source codes on which your game software is developed is implemented, okay, and it is hidden with the outer layer or template, or you can say a frame, okay, and on that frame only you are working, you are not worrying about the source code inside it. So it provides a security, wrapping of data and operation functions into a single unit is called encapsulation. It just wrapping of data. You can take example of this fan, running fan or a fan. In this fan, it is just encapsulated with the different outer layers, and that's why it is called encapsulation. Is a way to represent abstraction. If you hide something, definitely it will display something also. Like if we talk about this circuit board, switch board. In the switch board, if we have just hide the wires and the circuits inside the circuit board in switch board. So if we are hiding something, we are displaying something. So that's why it is called encapsulation. Is a way to represent abstraction. We will see one more example here. It is a class and encapsulated in a, I will just make a capsule, okay. It is a variable and functions. See, just I made a capsule type structure, and this class contains variables and functions combined into a single unit. Variables and functions in a class. So class just combine or wrap up of data and functions into a single unit is called encapsulation. And one more thing, this is the second topic. Encapsulation is a way to represent abstraction. As I told you that abstraction is the essential features of an object, but encapsulation is a way. If I hide something, if I just wrap something, then the outer layer would be also be displayed to the end user, and that outer layer would be the abstraction for that end user. So if I just encapsulate something, if I just wrap something, so the outer layer which is being displayed to the end user would be your abstraction. Okay. So this is called encapsulation. Clear? Let's go for next one, polymorphism. Polymorphism. In this concept, it is made up of two words, that is Greek word poly means many, and morphism means forms. So here we can say more than one form of an object. You can write here more than one form of an object is known as polymorphism. See, a particular object can perform multiple tasks, depends upon the situations. We can take an example of a bell, a school bell. When the first bell rings. When the first bell rings, on the same time maybe class 9th is studying computer, but maybe on the same time class 10th is studying history, or the same time maybe class 8th is studying English. So see, only one bell rang, but the different objects are behaving differently. So in this polymorphism, if one object can perform many tasks, one object can perform many tasks depends upon the situation. And this polymorphism is a feature of object-oriented programming concept for reusability. A same object can be used multiple times in our program. Same object can be used multiple times in our program. If we have a method like eat, so eating can be performed by dog as well, eating can be performed by cat also, eating can be performed by elephant also, giraffe also, and all. Clear? So polymorphism, more than one form of an object is known as polymorphism. Clear? Now the last one is inheritance. Inheritance. In inheritance, acquiring the properties of parent class to child class. In a simple way, acquiring the properties of parent class to child class. Definitely in the real world also, children can acquire some properties from their parents, some behavior you can say, some behavior or some kind of attributes also can be acquired from the parent class. So parent and talk about child. So this child can acquire some properties, some attributes from this parent class, that is called inheritance. In this inheritance, a child class can access or can acquire some properties or some behaviors from their parent class. Clear? So this is your inheritance. So here your object-oriented programming concepts is clear over. Hope you understood this clearly and just note it down in your copies. Thank you.